Hari Om. In chapter 11, Virat Roop is the grand vision to which Arjun and of course Sanjay have been privy. They have had the great privilege of viewing this grand spectacular vision of the Virat Roop. Now, what does this Virat Roop symbolize? Naturally, it is not a figure, because any figure will have its limits, hands or legs or form. Any form has a limit to it. But Virat Roop symbolizes that which is limitless. And therefore, there are many, many ways in which the poet tries to show how infinite, how eternal, how all-pervasive this ultimate truth is. And therefore, through poetry and through imagery, actually, imagery is a tool used by poets so that we can understand that vast, immense truth which actually is beyond words and beyond senses, naturally. So when this Virat Roop is viewed by Arjun, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, what did we see? Arjun merely wanted a solution to his immediate problems. It's like relationship problems. I'm related to these people and I'm filled with sorrow about killing them. And we have other kinds of relationship problems in this world, all kinds. So later on he progressed to Jigyasu, and he said, I want to know what is the real form, what is truth, what is the ultimate truth, what am I here for? And I think he is also going to progress to become a sadhak, and by the end of chapter 18 we will see that, a real sadhak who realizes that the ultimate goal is actually not the small vision of the limited self, of the limited body. And therefore this Virat Roop, actually, when Virat Roop is shown to anyone through Divya Drishti, it cannot be seen through the normal Drishti, that person naturally becomes extremely humbled, extremely chastened. And first of all, the spectacle is too immense for him to grapple with, for any one of us. Arjun is in our place right now, and therefore that immensity has humbled him, chastened him, and of course shocked him. The amazement is really beyond words. Apart from all this, in that chastening, in that humility, the listener or the viewer of this Virat Roop suddenly realizes that in proportion to the vastness of existence, the vastness of truth, my little problems are actually immaterial. And also there's one more thing that a person may realize, and that is that, oh, I feel a sense of freedom when I see that all these creatures are just being swallowed up by the Virat Roop. Now, swallowed up here is a symbol of the principle of time, Kal. I am Kal, I am time. Irrespective of how great or small you are, I am going to swallow you. That principle of Kal or time is also a part of that infinite truth. And therefore, when one hears this truth, some people are fearful. Oh, I'm going to lose everything. So all that I have associated myself with, my name, my fame, my achievements, and my status, and of course my relationships and my family, all those are actually insignificant. And that fear and that disappointment and dejection is what hits some people. But there are some people who suddenly feel a sense of freedom. Freedom. Oh, Bhagwan has already said that he is Kal. He is going to speak now after 30th verse. I am the principle of Kal. Kalosmi. I am Kal. I am time. And that sense of release that some people feel, that, oh, why was I so worked up about my little profession and my wealth and my disappointments in finances or relationships or in competition with others, all the things that I feel I was left out of. What are all these things? I'm free. Actually, I'm free. Not even this body is of much significance. And also death takes, the sting of death is taken away. That means there's no fear of death. Can you imagine the sense of freedom? freedom from attachment to Vastu, Vyakti, Paristiti, and freedom from fear of death. Those are the two things that some people these are the two ways in which some people respond to this Virat Roop. And therefore we can choose in what way we can accept this Virat Roop in our own lives. For the moment, let's see chapter 11, verse number 29. What is the description that Arjun is giving when he sees this Virat Roop, this immense reality, this absolute factor of our existence? Verse 29. Yatha pradiptam jwalanam patanga, like little fire moths which are being swallowed up, vishanti nashaya samriddha vegaha, at great speed they are entering the mouth of this Virat Roop figure. Figure is the symbol, of course. God is not a figure, it is not Sagun and Sakar, but Nirgun and Nirakar. We all know that by now. But all this, the imagery and what we see in in Bhagavatam, is for the fool minds, the what do you call, the rustic minds, the childish minds, and therefore we may not fall into that trap. And we know that what is being referred to is that great, immense power, that immense light or energy that pervades everything and that powers everything, and it has of course no form, and of course it's beyond description. But right now we see this great mouth as a symbol, and what Arjun sees is that like fire moths, all the creatures and men and women and gods and demons are being swallowed up and chewed up by this figure. So it simply means Kal, or the factor of time, spares no one. Vishanti nashaya samriddha vegaha, at great speed. Yes, vegaha, great speed. We think we have a life of 90, 100 years, whatever. You don't know, within a trice, within the twinkling of an eye, that life is gone. And therefore, in proportion to cosmic time, our life is like the lifetime of a housefly, which is one day of human life, of human time. Tathaiva nashaya vishanti lokaha, all the creatures of this world. Tavapi vatrani samriddha vegaha, entering your mouth, all at great speed. All, not only just like moths, all the creatures. So we had also talked about the river. What does a river, or not even a river, what does the droplet of water within a river know about itself? Does it know about its relationship to the river? Does the river know its relationship to the ocean? That's the relationship we are all searching for, actually. We are all thinking of ourselves as little drops of prosperity, of fame, of name, of brilliance. Yes, we are. Many of us are talented and brilliant and famous, maybe, whatever. But that's a droplet in the river, and the rivers are millions of rivers in the ocean. Our relationship to that ocean we cannot find as long as we are identified with that minuteness, the littleness of the little drop, or even the wave. Let's even take a wave in the ocean. Even that is little. The moment we identify with the vast, there is some hope of uniting with the Ruha, with the essence of that mighty power, which is the truth of all of us, which is the truth of the high and mighty, and of the lowly, of everyone. This is the same truth that pervades everyone. Now, what about Kala? Let's go to verse number 30. Lelihyase grasamana samantat. I can see this great figure is not only chewing up and swallowing, but also licking, relishing all the figures that, all the people that it is, or he is chewing and relishing and licking and swallowing. Yeah, it's quite a grotesque picturization, but we must remember what it is referring to. If we see our lives, it is as ridiculous as that. We know we are going to enter the great mouth of destruction and death, and Yet we don't realize that this destruction and death is only for the little body and for the little mind. And therefore we don't feel a sense of freedom while we are living. And till that time, we will continue to be fearful of death, and we will have these grotesque visions of time swallowing all of us and licking the people and crushing them between the teeth with relish. Yes, it's a grotesque imagery, but it is meant to shake us out of our complacency about our existence. We continue to think that we are permanent here, yes, and therefore we can hold on to all the things that we possess, and sangraha karna and bhog karna, and also we continue to feel that we must have some more and accumulate this or that. Our desires don't end to right up to the end at our deathbed. There are people that close to death, and I've known them to say that they wanted, they felt regretful that they didn't have that favorite piece of jewelry, or that they didn't see make that particular visit to some part of the world. What are we holding on to desires till the end of our lives? It has actually no meaning in the immense cosmic truth in which we are trying to delve right now. It really has no meaning, and therefore Lokan samagran vadanairjvaladbhihi. Verse number 30, second line, with flaming mouths, with a flaming mouth, that great figure swallowing everyone. Tejo bhirapurya jagat samagram. And this fierce radiance, it seems that Arjun is actually in complete awe of this great fierce brilliance that he sees before him. Of course, it's in the form of a figure, but then it's blazing fire. Bhastatva vograha pratapat panti Vishnu. So, O Vishnu, I can see that your radiance is filling the entire world. Vishnu actually means filling the entire world. Vishwa, Vishnu. Now, what does this all mean for us? Does death have the power to keep us in its fear always? Or are we aware that all that is happening in the world is but a sequence? It is just a pattern, just like the pattern of changing seasons, and the pattern of the seed to the fruit, to the flower, to the fruit, to the tree is just a pattern of one falling to give birth to the next. Everything is a sequence. So are our bodies, and also the yugas, and also the universe. At the cosmic level, there will be pralaya, destruction of the entire world, and then there will be prabhava. Again, in cosmic time, even that is like the seed and the flower and the fruit. Everything has a pattern of regeneration, revival, destruction. And that destruction that we fear so much is just but a part of the same pattern. How will Shiva, the creator, Brahma, create unless there is destruction? How will Vishnu, the sustainer, sustain unless there is destruction of something first? And therefore, for Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, as they say, these are also symbolic figures which stand for this sequence, the sequential pattern of growth and revival and regeneration and destruction. It's a natural law which is followed from the smallest organism on this earth, right to the cosmic universal level, where there are great galaxies and planets and great stars, even like the star. The sun is a star. That star also has its lifespan, and it has to end at the end of its lifespan. It's all a pattern. And scientists have told us that over certain million of years, the sun is going to cool down and then collapse. It won't have its the kind of heat and sustaining power it has. It sustains life for us right now, and therefore it's a symbol of life for us. But everything from the so many millions of suns in so many galaxies, right? This is only our little planetary system. It all has the same pattern of regeneration and sustenance and destruction and growth and sequence once again. If this is just a natural law, what is all the grief about? So Arjun, what are you grieving about first of all? About the death of your so-called, not so-called, they are his gurus and cousins and his beloved grandsire Bhishma. What is the grief all about? Can you not see from the cosmic viewpoint, see this as just a simple natural law which is following its course? Yes, we do see death and we see people passing away around us, in our neighborhood, in our cities, in our country, day in and day out there is news. And yet we think, yes, that death is very sad, so sad. But I'm going to live on forever. So what's the next desire I can fulfill? Maybe my next project is to invest here and there, or go on a nice cruise, or buy that jewelry that I have been waiting to buy for a long time, whatever, I don't know. Some desire crops up. The rise of any desire in the mind is a sign in us that we think we are indestructible, infallible and infinite as bodies. Of course we are infinite, but as bodies. So we continue to pander to the taste and the longings of the body and the mind as long as we live, thinking that this body and mind is going to live forever. That is the greatest fallacy and that is the greatest mistake that we are making, and that is the very name given to an ajnani. That's the very nature of an ajnani. Not realizing that you are not this body. Why are we spending very precious, valuable time in pandering to the desires and tastes and longings and cravings of a capricious body and mind? Yes, the life will end soon, and therefore just see it as a pattern of life and death and destruction. That's all you need to do. These are only episodes, okay? And just as all our bodies are just passing on, remember every event in our lives has also passed on. So I enjoyed this fantastic, let's say, event where the sadhus had congregated and they gave these most elevating lectures. What a moment it was, heavenly. But that moment has also passed, isn't it? Every beautiful moment has also seen its generation and sustenance and death. It's gone. So every sequence of events are also coming and going and passing, just like Vastu and just like entire lives. So Arjun, what exactly is your grief about? Not very clear. But now Arjun is beginning to understand the very nature and immensity and infinite nature of this, let's call it the absolute factor. So when we read the Gita, sometimes what is the second fallacy that many of us fall into? And that second mistake is that, then God is something out there. And I am this little fearful, humble, dependent creature. Okay, so that fallacy also has to be removed at some point. When we cannot see we cannot see truth, the absolute truth, that is, in duality. God is up there, I am here, down here. God is there and I have to find that God there. If there is a duality, then there will be no unison. We need a subtler and subtler and subtler mind to come to a point where we see no duality. And there cannot be a duality because for the simple reason that there cannot be two universes. So what one universe gives rise to the creation of what we call God, and there's another creation for us. So two creations. So God and me. And what about this Jagat? Who created this Jagat, this Sansar? Okay, so that's another creation. So God and me and the Jagat. So three realities. It doesn't stand to reason. So therefore, there is no such thing. Even the Quran, even Christianity, even every religion will say that truth is absolute and it is one. Absolute meaning it is something that is it cannot be touched by time and space. So it is absolute in that sense. And it is one. It is one. Every religion will say that, because that is the only truth that all the peers and paigambars have arrived at. So let's not fall into this fallacy when we see the Virat Roop figure. It is just an allegorical reference made here for us to see the immensity of this totality. And Arjun right now is looking at this totality of existence, and in this vision it's looking like a fierce radiance. Okay, so we may say that some of the Abrahamic religions have a God and a Satan. God and Satan, meaning the evil and the good as two separate entities. No, they all have one basis. So just as you and I are feeling this immense, feeling this difficulty in grappling with this immensity, in the same way, the totality of existence is difficult to absorb and to grasp, because our minds and bodies have been conditioned to actually grapple with small things and sthula things and material things, things that we can see and touch and smell and taste and absorb and enjoy and भोग करते हैं. बस अब उतने senses तक हमको कोई चीज समझ में आ जाए, but those senses are the most gross level of existence, the most sthula level, inert level, and therefore we have to go beyond that and expand the mind. Therefore this description in some way helps to expand the very hearts and minds of the listeners. And Arjun is here getting this top view, this cosmic view of the destiny of all the creatures. So you see, this mouth which is swallowing up all the figures is actually the destiny of every creature, every living thing, not only in our galaxy, in entire cosmos, all the universes. That's the destiny that Arjun is viewing right now. And let's see, verse 31 has something more to say about the resplendence of this totality, total form. Akhyahi me ko bhavano graha rupo namostu te deva vara prasida. Akhyahi me ko, tell me, who is this fierce form? Arjun is now curious and says, I have seen that you cannot be the form. You cannot be this form because this form is limited. I can see that there is something beyond that. Can you please tell me the divine essence of your truth? Now he is beginning to become more and more sukshma, like a sadhak, like a rishi, like an inquirer, who is not happy just to see that, it's like seeing this big figure and saying, oh God, this is you, I'm going to pray to you, because I can see 1,000,000 heads and 1,000,000 arms. Now he's saying, Akhyahi me ko bhavanugraha rupo. I can see your anugraha, your ugra roop. Ugra roop means your fierce form, but please tell me, what is your essence? See how sukshma he is getting? What is your original form? He is asking. Namostu te deva vara prasida. O Supreme God, have mercy on me. This mercy here has been used very loosely by many of us who pray in our troubles and when we are afflicted. Yes, but it's not that. I don't think this is that kind of mercy. Here he is saying, please grant me the grace of that highest truth, that essence I want to see of yours, that mercy. So when we pray to God, this is the only mercy we should pray for, कि हे भगवान, मुझे उस तत्व का ज्ञान हो जाए, उस essence का ज्ञान हो जाए, उसके आगे मुझे और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. That kind of grace that's the kind of grace that Arjun is probably asking for. Namostute deva vara prasida. So chapter 11, verse 31, we continue with the third line. Vigyatu mechhami bhavantamadhyam. Can you please show me your original form? He is saying, your original truth. Beyond this vision, behind this vision which I see of Virat Roop. Nahi prajanami tava pravrittim. I know not means I really don't know, Bhagwan, what is your purpose? What is the real purpose? Your purpose meaning your role. So we know that essence, that absolute reality, that consciousness is the very aadhar on which our life rests. our pranic system, our bodies, this Annamaya Kosha, nothing, Annamaya means the body, and the mind, nothing can function without consciousness. Because the person who's in a coma has still got his entire system, or a person who's dead, let's say, because a comatose person, the consciousness is still there. Otherwise, he can't come back to life. A dead person who has just died has got all the organs. The organs are intact, but consciousness has deserted it. And therefore, consciousness is the only and only factor that can power this machinery, this little mechanism which we call the body and mind, and which we hold as our own. But remember, this is only a mechanism, a little machine, a little instrument which we are using. It is not the ultimate thing for which we, uski sajawat or uski rakh rakhav or uske possessions and sangraha and accumulation. We do a lot for this body and mind, and all the time we are doing things for this body, for this mind. But this Virat Roop is here, we're swallowing up all the creatures, just to remind Arjun, hey look, if you get attached to this body, you are going to fear death, and you are going to look as grotesque as these creatures who are falling into the mouth of death, all screaming for help. No. So Arjun has asked the right question. I want to know your purpose. I want to see your original divine form. In verse number 31. Wow. Very few of us have the capacity to ask such a question. This ultimate truth is what we don't ask for. Why? Because we are so busy seeking we are busy seeking solutions to our immediate little problems. कि हमारी व्यवस्था ऐसी हो जाए, हमारी स्थिति ऐसी हो जाए, हमारी फैमिली ऐसी हो जाए, मुझे अगला प्रोजेक्ट मिल जाए. Of course we have small dreams, but the fulfillment of those small immediate little dreams seems to circumscribe or limit our very capacity to see the ultimate and highest truth. So we are limiting ourselves, and therefore very few ask this question which Arjun is asking in verse 31. I want to know your purpose and your divine essence, not this form. I can see there's something behind this form, he says. See the kind of spiritual progress he has made from the earlier Arjun who was saying, oh, I'm stricken by grief, by sorrow, and I cannot function anymore. I put down my weapon. He became, he was filled with inaction. That's the kind of person he was. And today he is able to ask that ultimate question, because he is no more asking about the sorrow of war, the way we ask about the sorrow of our little lives. No. So he's gone beyond his immediate troubles. That is the way in which Bhagwan is helping Arjun to expand his very mind and his heart, the way we are expected to expand our minds and hearts beyond the material. Because what we can see around is society and people and their appreciation, their approval or their hatred, rag and dvesh as they call it, and everything is then related to our body and our mind and our personalities. So beyond all this is something that Bhagwan wants us to expand our minds and hearts, and therefore Arjun has now become our medium for understanding our own life. Now, why aren't we all asking for this ultimate truth? Very few of us. Because very few of us have seen beyond this little screen of our relationships and wealth and property and families and acquisitions and health and beauty and success. You see, this is all that has been told to us is what we need. In education, they say, बस ये सब हो जाए तुम्हारे पास, health, wealth, prosperity, तो बस ठीक है, you are successful. Now success का पूरा, in the संसारी sense, संसारी सेंस में ठीक है, आप सक्सेसफुल हैं, लेकिन आपका अस्तित्व, at some point you have to ask, am I just a sansari little creature? The moment you see that behind the screen there is another big secret, then you start hankering for that bigger secret, bigger success, bigger knowledge. So Krishna might, instead of being so compassionate, Krishna or some other teachers or gurus may, rishis may say, you want to know the highest truth? Okay, go read the Gita. Go read some scriptures, some Upanishad. The answer is there, whatever answer you want to know. But when we turn to scriptures and when we turn to gurus and Maharaj and Mahatmas and scriptures and temples and Tirtha Yatras, you know what? Many of us, I'm not saying we in particular over here, but the majority of the people would approach all these centers of knowledge only to be blessed for immediate prosperity, shanti, sukh, samriddhi. मुझे इतना मिल जाए बस. I will take a 2,000-mile journey to some temple up in the Himalayas, and what am I praying to God for? कि बस मेरी family स्वस्थ रहे और मेरा project चलता रहे. I should not lose my project or become unemployed. I don't know. There are many things we pray for, and out of fear we pray for these things and come back, trudge back another 2,000 miles back home. बस आप इतनी दूर गए थे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल भगवान इतनी दूर रहते नहीं है, पर ठीक है आप गए थे. इतनी दूर जाने के बाद आप अल्टीमेट क्वेश्चन तो पूछ लेते. So Arjun is asking that ultimate question, which we don't ask. We just say, मुझे benefits मिल जाए, मुझे prosperity मिल जाए, बस मुझे bless कर दो, भगवान मुझे bless कर दो. तो हम वहीं तक सीमित हो जाते हैं, and then this journey never ends. Journey of what? Of birth and death and Janma Bandhan, as they call it. So we are bound by Janma Bandhan. But Arjun is saying, bless me with that. Have mercy on me means bless me with that highest knowledge. Show me your real essence and divine form. Arjun is saying that. He is not saying, मुझे बस इस कुरुक्षेत्र में मुझे विजयी कर दो. Just let me win the war and let no harm come to my teachers, Dronacharya and Kripacharya वगैरह. Please, I love them a lot. तो इतना prayer करके हम निकल सकते हैं. Krishna is compassionate. Why won't he grant him? Yes, he will grant him even those mercies. But why not ask for the greatest grace? That is what helps us to understand the vastness of existence. So moving on to 32, this is Arjun still describing, has been describing so far how he feels about this Virat Roop, how he has reacted by asking and saying, I see your great form and I still want to know your real essence. So Bhagwan replies in verse 32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, chapter 11. Bhagwan is now going to introduce himself. Of course, by now we know from the very figure of all the figures falling into his mouth and all that, we know his, what God is up to. But he is giving his introduction again, saying, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravadho. Now, I am the principle of time. I am the principle, that aspect of change. Capital C, capital T. If we understand the principle of time or the principle of change or the principle of death, which is all the same thing actually. Time, change, death is all in the, is what is needed in all cycles. In all cycles of regeneration, sustenance and destruction. It's time and it's change that causes all this cycle to happen. So I am that factor. He is introducing one aspect of himself. I am Kalosmi. I am that Kal. Kalo Asmi. Kal Asmi. Lokan Samaharto Miha Pravrittaha. So it's a destruction and upheaval that I am capable of. That's not the only thing he is capable of, but that aspect he has highlighted here. Rite pitvam na bhavishyanti sarve yeva sthita pratyanikeshu yodhaha. And you know something, Arjun? All these warriors that you're seeing ranged against you in battle right now, all these hostile armies, they in any case will be destroyed. I am Kalosmi. I am Kal. They will be destroyed. With you or without you. So Arjun, don't think that you are going to be the destroyer. With you or without you. Don't think कि मैं नहीं करूँगा तो नहीं होगा. होगा जरूर. Because Kal is inexorable. It is unforgiving. It follows its course. The natural law will be followed. So don't be under the mistaken impression that all these warriors will be destroyed only if you decide to do it. Oh, no, no, no. Rite pitvam na bhavishyanti sarve. Without even you, rite api tvam, without even you, Arjun, bhavishyanti, they will not live in the future. That means they are going to die. Acha, what does this mean for us? It simply means that, of course, that that the cycle of change and destruction and death is inevitable, whether it's for your enemies or your loved ones. It applies equally. It's inevitable, which means you don't have a choice. There is no choice. Whether you want to see the destruction, whether you want to cause the destruction, or to cause their sustained life. You know, when you say loved ones, you say, oh, I want to see their life sustained. No, in both cases, no choice. It's inevitable. Therefore, he says, I'm Kal Roop and I'm going to swallow everyone. Swallow is the word he uses. Okay, so going ahead, we are going to see why is it that most of us feel that when we act, we are causing a certain result to accrue from it, because we are not taking into account that ultimate factor, Kal, which has already preordained and decided what's going to happen. Just like the Kauravas, Bhagwan has given a peep into the future of the war to Arjun, saying, oh yes, they're going to be destroyed anyway. Which means he has secretly told him that, Arjun, you're going to be victorious. But here the main thing is, why am I here? What is your essence? That is what Bhagwan was being asked by Arjun. I want to know your purpose. But his purpose has already been explained in the 4th chapter. Why is it Arjun has a short memory? Like us. We read and read and read for years, but it doesn't sink and it doesn't translate into a lifestyle for us. Living the very truth of existence, that I am not this body, I am not this small little mind limited by time. That truth doesn't sink in. But he has already explained in chapter 4, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever you see great evil overtaking goodness on this earth, yes, I will appear. I need to come. Abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. That's also a cycle. That's a cycle for me. That is the avatar of Krishna. That cycle is that I will appear whenever I am required to destroy evil. Okay, so this is a little bit of a peep into the self-introduction. क्योंकि स्टेज के ऊपर उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करने वाला कोई था नहीं, तो अपना सेल्फ इंट्रोडक्शन भगवान इज गिवन इन वर्स 32. Verse 33, as we go on, this is one of the most important verses. You might like to mark it, and the most quotable also, because here Bhagwan has said something very important to Arjun. What is that? Tasmattvamuttishtha yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samudham. Okay, so you stand up now, Arjun, and claim your fame, claim your glory, claim your victory. Just stand up and claim your victory. Jitva shatrun, enjoy the unrivaled kingdom that you are going to obtain. Okay, how is it that he has given him a peep into the future? We'll see that. First of all, tasmat uttishta, pick yourself up, stand up and complete your duty. First message to Arjun is, no matter how fearful you are about, or how confused you are about the purpose of life and about the existence of God and the very essence of God and the essence of yourself, which you may not know. No matter how confused, the one thing that you cannot neglect is your duty, ordained duty. So each one of us has been ordained with some duty or the other, whichever station in life we find ourselves, because of the birth we have taken. We've taken birth in a certain family or society or nation, or so professionally we have chosen an area. We have duties. Arjun is a Kshatriya. No matter what, you cannot deny your duty. So first of all, Uttishta, stand up and complete your duty. Because And secondly, do your duty anyway. Why? Because what you are confused about has already been completed by me. They have already been slain. Rajyam Samruddham, claim your fame. They have been slain already. Result of the war is declared before the war by Krishna. And then he says, Mayyaivaite nihitah purvameva. They have been slain by me. By me meaning by Kal, because he has already given his introduction as Kalosmi. I am Kal and I am time. And that time has shown that those fellows that you are so fellows and also your revered gurus that you are so fearful of fighting are already slain by me. Mayyaivaite Kalosmi. And therefore what should I do? So what is the message for Arjun? What should I do in such a situation? To act or not to act? So the last line, the most quotable one, which everyone quotes everywhere, Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Just be a nimitta matra. Matra, merely be an instrument in my hands. Because Krishna says, Arjun, you be my instrument, and through you, the outcome of the war will be realized. By me. By whom? By Krishna. Krishna knows what the outcome is. But I need an instrument. You are that nimitta, that instrument. So why don't you just do your duty, whatever needs to be done, and consider yourself just to be that instrument one moment. Nimitta matra bhava savya sachin. First of all, I would like to come to the word savya sachin. Savya sachin means ambidextrous. Ambidextrous means one who can shoot the arrow with precision with his left hand as well as his right hand. Ambidextrous. Both his hands can be used with equal skill. Who can do such a thing? Only a great archer like Arjun. Ambidextrous. Savya sachin. In Bengal, this is also a name which is very popular for boys, isn't it? They call it Sabyasachi. They change the word to ba. They simplify it, Sabyasachi. So it actually means the ambidextrous, skilled archer. Savyasachin, do one thing, just be a nimitta matra. So please remember this, there is a lesson here for us too, that when there are some people or events or issues that come into our lives, which bring us great sorrow or which bring us great joy. In both cases, these people who bring them to us are not doing it of their own volition all the time. It is because they are all nimitta. They are instruments in the hands of God, in the hands of Kal, and they are it's ordained to happen to us. That sorrow, that great joy, that excitement, that success, that failure, that disappointment, that dejection, that great loss, bereavement, everything. Someone is bringing this to us, and then their job is done and they are gone. That is, they were just there as instruments in our lives. Think back of your lives and think back of all the events that have caused great sorrow or great joy or great success, and remember that it was only and only the great preordained pattern and sequence that someone was following, and then the person will say, pata nahi kyun lekin maine kar diya. Someone maybe gave us a big loan, pata nahi kyun, but that person helped me a lot. वो लोन देने के लिए भी he was an instrument. या फिर वो लोन या फिर हमसे लोन लेने के लिए भी कोई एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट था, that person who needed to cheat me or something. सब इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स है भैया. Arjun, please remember कि with or without you, this battle is going to be fought. Nimitta matra bhava. If we remember this, there will be so many things which will be sorted in our heads, and therefore sometimes people write it in their status and all that. Nimitta matra bhava savya sachin. Everything is already decided and preordained by Kala. You be an instrument and complete your duty, but do not fall into inaction and laziness कि अब होना तो है ही है ना, तो हम क्या करें? No. For that also he has said, Tasmat, you have to uttishtha. You have to do your duty, because even not doing duty will have consequences. Now, Kal. Kal is an all-consuming power, right? And everything is already done. In terms of Kal, meaning the karmic cycle, the karmic factor, everything is already done. So now, Arjun, just come forward and claim your crown, your glory. But be careful. When you say that this battle is won, be careful you are not self-arrogating the success to yourself, because then again you fall into the trap of arrogance and pride, and this is a bigger snare, a bigger trap waiting for you called karma phala. The moment we indulge in pride or arrogance or self-arrogation ki ye to maine kiya hai, we are following into the trap of कर्म फल, बिकॉज उसका फल तो होगा किसका? उस सोच का, उस अभिमान का, उस अहंकार का, नॉट द एक्शन. द एक्शन इज बाय इटसेल्फ इनर्ट. इट इज द भाव विथ विच वी डू द एक्शन which will give us our karma phal. So don't fall into that trap, Arjun. Just complete your duty the way, and trust me, it has been ordained for you, and you just complete it without a thought of anger or ahankar, both of these. So when he says nimitta matra, remember that there are so many things in our lives which have come to us without our asking, and how meagerly, how little we have contributed to that happening. So suddenly there is a windfall, and there's a good job, and there's a good opportunity, and and you see this particular ad, and you end up buying a nice big house and a farmhouse, and everything fell into place because it was meant to. There are no coincidences in life कि मुझे उस समय ही I had collected that amount of money, or I got a payout from the LIC, or I just saw the ad at that particular time, or I got a job because there was another opening and someone told me and I landed a great job. All these are coincidences? No, there are no coincidences. Nimitta matra, everything is preordained. You are an instrument, just follow the course, because you know that we have contributed so very little to where we are right now and to how much we have achieved in our lives. We have contributed very little. Beyond our little effort, there has been a big grace. There has been a big factor which has contributed. So what is all this little vanity about? मैं करता हूँ, मैंने achieve किया है. What is that small vanity about? He is asking Arjun. What all the factors that you needed for your success are already given to you by time, and you are only assembling it. That means we are only just assembling what God has already given us. So right from the time of our birth, which means birth in a good family, and the education that we receive because of that family, and the prosperity and happiness and success and talent and exposure, everything has been preordained. We are only reassembling all the things that God already gave us and creating our reality in the world. So what does it mean? So yes, Arjun, this entire army has been invited here just for you. They have been invited here just so that you can play out your part as a great hero, which people will remember. Arjun, the great hero, for thousands and thousands of years. Yes, even now people name their children Arjun very proudly, because he is a hero not to be forgotten. This kind of immortal fame was meant for him. So Bhagavan says, yeah, that's why I assembled this war front for you. So what is all the pride about? The glory is yours, and even the defeat is preordained for the Kauravas. Don't make a mistake to take the credit. That will be a mistake. Failure is never a mistake in our lives. Failure is something that we can take in our stride, and but it is taking credit or feeling dejected is the big mistake we make. And because of that, because of these two, we are ensnared by the karma phal, karma bandhan. Then how should we act? Complete your duty with all the skill and honesty, and bal, buddhi, parakram आपके पास जितना है सब कुछ डाल दीजिए बिना अभिमान के उस कार्य में. So because you are not the grabber of the fruit. Karmanyavadhikaraste, you have the adhikar on your karma, but not on the fruit. Ma phaleshu kadachana. So who is the giver of the fruit? I, Krishna. I am the giver of that fruit. So mat prasadat rishyashi. Mat pradatat. This is coming in 18th chapter, coming up far ahead in 18th chapter. Mat prasadat rishyasi. I am the one who will give the fruit. Mat prasadat rishyasi. I will give the fruit. So don't worry about it. When we do actions, we think that I am the doer. And because you think I and self-arrogate it, we attach a lot of pride or vanity or arrogance or anger to that action. That is the biggest trap for our spiritual growth and for our karma phal. For example, if there is a CBI raid or an income tax raid, now these officers have been sent to some place to raid a particular corporate. They do that. They have to be aggressive, they have to be firm, but that aggression and that firmness does not carry the bhava of anger or vengefulness. If it did carry the bhava of anger or vengefulness, it would attach to their karma. So Arjun, if you don't want any karma to be attached to your action, yes, you may kill in the battle, but do it with the bhava of duty. That's all. That's what is meant by nimitta matra bhava savya sachin. And up ahead later we will also see that it is the same abhiman and the same ahankar which actually blocks our view of Paramatma. Our view of Paramatma is completely blocked because of this veil, this kind of a cloud, the smoke screen in front of us of abhiman, ahankar, main kar raha hu. Therefore we can't see that God, that essence which is ever present for us to see, and that is the actual power behind all our actions. वो हम नहीं देख पाते because we think I am doing it. So no, nimitta matra. You are an instrument and just do it as one. In fact, in chapter 2, he had already given a hint of this, and he had said, what is there to lament any action? Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayo. In victory and in success, in sukha and dukkha, just be tato yuddhaya yujjasva. Just battle on. Just keep battling on. Naivam papam avapsyasi, or else you will carry papa. Here papa means that same principle of karma phal. Karma phal comes when you act out of raga or dvesha, attachment or anger, greed or longing or distaste. No, there is no distaste. I have to do it, I have to do it, finished. No papama vapsyasi. Chapter 2 is given so many hints about mukti by just doing action. In chapter 3 also, karma yoga is all about that, getting your freedom by just doing your karma. In fact, there's this story of Krishna when he lifted the Govardhan Parvat, on his little finger, the nail of his finger of his left hand actually, you know what he told the little the Gwalbal, these cowherds, he told the little cowherds, look, put your lathis, your sticks under the mountain. And they all put their lathis and sticks under the mountain, and they started thinking that the mountain is held up because of their lathis and their sticks. And they started feeling proud and feeling powerful. That's what happens to us when we taste success in this world. They started feeling proud and powerful. And then God said, time for me to show the reality. So he just lifted, so he just dropped his hand a little bit, and the mountain sort of started inching downwards. And there was panic among the cowherds because the mountain was, inching downwards towards them, and they would be crushed, and there was great panic. And Bhagwan said, so now you know your lathis were not holding it up. It's actually Bhagwan holding up the entire world. So keep up your effort. वो नहीं कहते हैं कि लाठी भी मत लगाओ. He said to the cowherd, yeah, go ahead and support the mountain with your lathis. Important to do your duty, but your pride will be your downfall. So going ahead, we are going to see what Sanjay has to say and how Arjun then reacts with a sense of awe and fear when he suddenly realizes the immensity of the truth, and then realizes that, oh, what I was attached to was so little. The kind of thoughts I was holding are so immaterial and so little and so sansari. They have no significance in the vaster uh, design of things, the design of God. So when you realize that, you are totally humbled and crushed by a larger reality, what is your natural reaction? We are going to see that up ahead in the verses when Arjun responds. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityur ma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om.